All right. So this is our Mindset Mondays for 12, nope, 2 21 2023. I don't know why I have 12 in my mind. December. Let me make sure I get it right. 2 21 2023. And our Mindset Mondays discussions for anyone who's new or who hasn't listened to any of the audios is for mental and skill development in trading. Now, if someone has never told you about day trading, it can be quite possibly one of the most challenging things in business that someone could ever do. In many respects, for that matter, in anything someone may do, it's super challenging. And the most important thing to work on in day trading, in addition to your skills, in addition to how you read the market, it's the mindset. That's the hardest part to tackle. And so we do a Mindset Mondays audio series for training and development inside of our private channel. Today, our Mindset Mondays topic is how to become a comeback king or queen, making your money back in the market, what it takes, and how to do it. Now, we've all taken losses in the market, and some have taken even greater losses than maybe they'd like to admit. Personally, myself, I've suffered losses throughout my career to the tune of about $500,000. And I'm telling you, I got some experience with that as well. But certainly have made it back and gotten to the point now where I can pull six-figure days out the market. Red days are a thing of the past. And it took some time to get there. Now, how do you come back? How do you really get your money back in the market? Let's be real. Everyone wants to get their money back. And what does it take? We got a special guest in the building today. Tweebee is with us, one of our moderators extraordinaire. How you doing, Twee?
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's
Excellent.
doing well. And Green?
Excellent. Yeah. It's a little chippy today, super choppy. Poopy day, really, as far as
Oh,
the
yeah.
volume, you know.
That's one
I
reason I haven't entered the trade. I mean, plus I work full time, right? So, you just have to pick your trades when pick my trade when I can.
Yeah, and that's the right thing to do. You're absolutely right. You're doing the right thing. Just a couple of trades this morning, green morning, but boy, this thing is moving like molasses. So actually, it's a perfect time for us to have a discussion and to talk about it. So let's get to it. Let's get to it, Twee. How about we just get to you and I, we're just going to kick it, and
Okay.
just how about we get
This
to know you a
this is
little
new
bit.
with this is new for me, so yeah.
That's
I'm
all
just
right. We'll just kick it, right?
not
This
used
is
to
don't
it.
don't be nervous or anything like that. I mean, you guys know I have a lot of respect for my moderators. They have mountains of value to add. Everyone has a journey and a story. I respect them a lot. Something special about folks that are certainly moderating, and people have lives. So I really appreciate the work that you all do and the value you add in the Discord. And I think that other people should hear it. You guys are on your journey and are already good traders, and you just go through all the same things that we all do. So I thought it'd be nice to hear it. So how about how
Yeah,
about we
yeah.
start here? Tell us a little bit about your background. I believe you're Vietnamese. So tell
Yes.
us a little bit about just kind of your background, where you're from,
hmm
and what brought you all the way to this journey of day trading.
So I am Vietnamese. I was born in Vietnam, and my family came here to the U.S. when I was about 10. And um, let me tell you, I mean, we did not start. We're a family that in the beginning, this is before the Vietnam War. We had money, and in fact, my grandfather had a lot of money, so everybody was well fed. And
Mhm.
after the war, the communists took over, and
Yeah.
my family, my dad's side of the family, we actually fought in they actually fought in the Vietnam War on the south side, non-communist side. So
Mhm.
after the war, communists came in and took all of our money, properties, possessions, things like that. So we became poor. My parents had to work very hard. Um, from the beginning, work very hard, and growing up, I remember, at the age of 3, 4 years old, we had a house, and it was a decent sized house, very small house, compared to what we have now, and so. um, we didn't have any money, and I ended up helping my family at the age of like 6 or 7. You've heard stories about kids working in sweatshops, and
Hmm.
before I even get to that, so after the war, like a lot of people were fleeing the country. You hear, I don't know, maybe you hear about boat people.
Hmm.
People fleeing the country by boat. Well, my family was one of those. My parents sold all of our properties. That the house that we lived in, that's the tiny house that we live in. They sold it, and so that we could escape by boat. Now, mind you, I was only about 5 or 6 years old back then,
Hmm.
and so we tried multiple attempts. My parents made multiple attempts. I would say 3 or 4 attempts, and we never made it. We never made it that route. We never made it that route. So, and actually, we got caught, and my family was jailed by the communists. My dad was jailed for about 2 years, and I was jailed for about a month as kids. My sister and I have a sister.
Hmm.
So anyway, after that jail time, right? We came back and we basically had to. They call it re-education camps. Like
Hmm.
that. So after that period, you come back and you are re-educated and you rebuild your lives, right? So we went and lived with my aunt. Um, so it could be a long story here.
Yeah, it's
We
okay.
went and lived with my aunt, and I ended up helping her. We lived with her. We had no home. We have no house. We have no
Mm.
money. So we lived with my aunt, my mom's sister, and she was subcontracting jobs, like from sweatshops to do
Hmm.
things. So we do many things. We do many tasks, many jobs. Depends on what kind of work is out there. So one of the work that I did as a kid is if you ever look at the bottles, like beer bottles,
Hmm.
the aluminum caps on the bottles, we were manually uh, making those caps. you
Mm.
know so you stamp the cap, right, and we get the glue, and just imagine my aunt's house. It's 2 stories. So the second story is all emptied out, just rooms. And every day I would help my aunt. We would take one each bottle cap and lay it out flat, rows and rows and rows of bottle caps. And one of us, or multiple of us, will go through each of those caps and pour the glue, the rubber, inside those
Hmm.
caps, one by
Inside the
one.
cap.
Yeah, yeah. And it takes several days for that to dry up. And once it dry up, we collect it, and then we go measure it and then and weigh it out, and we would get paid by the amount of weigh of that we did. So
Wow.
that is one of my stories. So I mean that's how we made money, and that's how I made money as a kid. And I was about 7 years old, right? Um so anyway, fast forward. Um so prior to after the war, my aunt married an American soldier, and he brought her to the U.S. So she was able to sponsor our family to come
Mm.
here, and that's how we actually came here officially,
Oh,
not
nice.
by boat, right? So we came here officially through that sponsorship, and there's like 11 of us, my aunts and uncles. So we came here in 1989, and again, rebuilding our lives. We had no money. In fact, my family owed my aunt money for the plane tickets.
Yeah.
Just think, 2,000, I don't know, $2,500 per person. I mean, we owed her like, I don't know, 10, 15,000 the minute we landed here, and we had
So
no
the
money.
minute you land, you're in debt.
We're in debt. Yeah, we're in debt.
Hmm.
So my parents, being good people that they are, I mean, they started from scratch again. They apply for jobs. My dad was applying for jobs at Ponderosa, one of the restaurants here. He was a
Hmm.
dishwasher. My mom works in Golden Corral. I mean, you guys laugh about Golden Corral, but my mom was the salad bar girl in Golden Corral.
Nice. Nice.
So and over the years, they build up, and slowly we save up, and within 2 years, we were able to buy a house. They were able to buy a house, and
Wow.
we grew up that way, very conservative, with everything we do, our lives and things like that. So, my family,
Yeah.
we never have means, but my parents, had to give up their life and to let us kids, send us kids to school,
Hmm.
right? So I look back and I said that is something that they have to give up. So my sister and I, we have to do very well in school, and we did very well. We're the first in our family to go to college, right? Went to high school, college, and graduated. And but we never look back and forget, our background, our past, because
Nice.
that's who we are and how we build our lives, right?
Yeah. And it's a part of you.
It
It's a part of your journey, your story, and it's what made you.
Yeah, yeah. And now, I mean, I have a son, and it's harder here to have kids because you have everything now, and you want to provide for them. But I always, want to teach him lessons that I learned as kids. Not to
Hmm.
not to take everything for granted. You have to work hard. So we
Hmm.
we do try to instill that to our son.
Hmm. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, hearing your story certainly touches us,
Mhm,
and just the journey, and it makes the journey even more rich. There are things there that we couldn't even imagine.
mhm,
Personally, we've had some conversation. Myself, my wife, and I have spent some time over in Vietnam, so I can
mhm,
only imagine,
mhm,
right, how things were. But to bring you full circle, and to now that you have come this far,
mhm,
um, let's talk a little bit about what happened next. Let's talk about your trading journey.
mhm,
Well, first, before we go there, I know. So when you went to college,
mhm,
did you? Because I know you're a nerd, like me,
mhm.
and did you always want to go into the tech field?
No, actually, I actually was a math major originally.
Ah,
And
so
I
you're a
want
true nerd.
I was a math major, and to be honest, growing up, because my parents, they did not attend schools here. My sister and I, we struggle with school because nobody teach us. We had to learn English from scratch.
Hmm.
I started fifth grade here. I started fifth grade here, and I went to class with a dictionary, an English Vietnamese dictionary. Every day I
Mm.
would walk, and as I read, I am translating words for words into Vietnamese.
Nice,
For
nice.
a long time. And that's how we learn. But the best thing that my parents did is, they bought a TV back then, 1990. 1990, we had this old wooden TV, and back then they were selling these closed caption boxes, like
Mhm.
TV boxes, and they bought these closed caption boxes and attached it to our TV. And every day when we watch TV, you can read the words and associate
Mhm.
the words with what is being said,
You
and
you
that
you
is
you
how we
sound
learn.
like my house right now. You sound like every program I watch right now, because the captions are on, and it
Yeah,
it just the
but
first
it's
couple of years.
amazingly, that's how we learn our
Yeah.
English. It's,
So what's
you
crazy is
take it
the
for
first couple
granted
of
now.
years, I'm like, "Honey, can we just watch one program without the captions?" But now I watch all of them with the captions on. I'm like, "What did they say?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, boy."
Yeah, yeah. So I started out as a math major, and we didn't really have anybody to, like, really coach us on what direction we wanted to go when we were, in high school. And at that time I loved math, right? I was straight A students, math whiz, and I took calculus 3 in high school, and
Mhm.
so my teacher said, you could be a math teacher, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be a math teacher. So, but once I got to community college, that's when IT really kind of started um, growing. IT was the buzz, that's when, was it Netscape, Internet Explorer, I mean, the internet,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
the
yeah.
AOL really get going,
Yeah.
right?
All of
So,
those CDs you get in the mail.
oh, yes, yes. So, I mean, I started getting into that, being a nerd, right? And I had a friend of mine in class, and we would exchange, our geekiness, I guess, right? So, and it was a lot of fun. So once I got to college, I switched major. I mean, up to community college, I was doing dual major, a math major and computer engineering, actually. And once I got to my third year in college, I decided that having two was a little bit too much, and I wanted to focus. By that time, I really loved tech, right? I really wanted
Mhm.
to focus on the tech side, and I went into computer science. A lot of programming, coding,
Nice.
things like
Oh,
that.
yes, nice.
But I'm always a hands-on person, so in terms of code, I know a bit about it, but I love the hardware and the infrastructure of IT.
Mhm.
And so as I graduated from college, I focused more on that. Um, and stuck with it ever since. So now I'm a more on the hardware side, less on the coding side. Um, I'm a I'm now more of an IT architect level,
Mhm.
sysadmin architect level,
Oh, yes.
and
Oh, yes.
now I support an infrastructure, IT infrastructure for a school district in South
Nice.
Florida. So
Nice.
and doing
Nice.
what I love.
Good. Isn't it nice? Yeah, I very much love the market, but I very much love, tech and IT.
Mhm,
I will never separate it. And it would you do you feel
mhm,
do you feel that your not just your background and the things you've gone through, because
mhm,
I can sense some resilience, some work ethic there as
mhm.
well, just in knowing you from the Discord, can clearly see it. But do you feel like the tech side of things, your tech brain, your analytical brain, has helped you in the market at all?
Oh yeah, for sure. I love numbers, and it's almost like studying algorithms, in
Yeah,
certain ways,
yeah.
right? So for me, like it really massage,
Mhm.
my skills and really get me interested in the trading. It become an addiction almost
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
way, right?
But in a kind of a good but not the money side. It's not the money though. It's
No,
like
no,
the
it's not.
technical side of it. It's just
Hmm.
so cool.
Right,
This is
right.
so cool.
Right. So
Um,
money is not the money for us. The other thing too is uh, my family. Now we're not poor anymore. I wouldn't say we're poor. We are probably average, maybe a slightly above average in terms of finance. And my husband and I, we have this agreement when we got married is that we're never going to get into a financial we don't want to get into a financial bind. So
mhm.
we live our lives debt free, meaning we don't we don't owe anything. We don't owe any mortgage, we don't owe any car payments or anything like that. We work for what we need to buy. We work, we save up for it, and we pay it off. I mean, even buying a car, we pay it off within a year, you know,
I love
2
that.
years. That's one thing, when we got married, is that we don't wanna be arguing about money, and that is something that,
Mhm.
a lot of couples go through. We wanna
Absolutely.
and we don't ever want to be in that situation. Is
Yeah.
So we work hard, right? We work hard and to the point where we can be comfortable. We want to provide for our son and be comfortable. And you need to in this economy now. We
Yeah.
save up and conserve but conserve some, and we also have leave some money aside for trading, for example. That's we call it our I wouldn't say play money or fun money, but it's fun. We reside to do whatever we want, right? So I have some fun set aside to do what I want, and he does too. Um,
But it sounds like you guys, and I can appreciate
mhm,
this. It sounds like you had a plan going into it, and just obviously into your relationship and your marriage and your life,
mhm,
and that that plan involves,
Hmm.
managing money,
Hmm.
right? Managing debt, making sure that's gone,
Right.
and some investments. So, that's a great segue. Let's talk a little bit about your trading journey. How you got into trading. I know you mentioned crypto a little bit. You mentioned some stocks, some futures, options, all of it. Like, uh,
We did all of that. I did all of that. But I mean, up to like let's say April 2021. Um, I mean, other than having an IRA and a 401k and all that, I wasn't really into the market. I mean, I looked at it and everything, but not like into like actual trading. My husband has over the years. He has an account with TD Ameritrade, but he's more like a swing trader. Um,
mhm,
Again, that side money that we save aside for
mhm,
that. So he does with and I don't really get into it, but it was not until April 2021 that the family, I say my family, our families here, got into it really, into the crypto because of the Dogecoin.
mhm.
April 2021, that whole Elon
Oh
Musk is
no,
gonna talk
man.
about it and everything, right? So everybody
Yeah.
started
Oh
out
no.
buying Dogecoins. It was like, oh, we got it for, I don't know, 15 cents, and you need to buy this. And so yes, we fell victims to that. And I started, and everybody got into Robinhood. If you sign up with Robinhood, they give you, what is it, a free stock or something? I forgot what it
Yeah,
was.
yeah,
Yeah, they
yeah.
give you. So everybody refer everybody, and
Mhm.
everybody recruited everybody, right? So and I opened up an account with Robinhood, and they gave me one stock of J.P. Morgan,
Mhm.
and we put some money in there and started investing in crypto. So Dogecoin was one that we got into. And then within 2 weeks, I want to say I made like $2,000. Not even 2 weeks, like a
Nice.
week. It's like I made $2,000, and my husband made $5,000 because he was in it longer. I,
Nice.
I hesitated a little bit before I got open up an account, right? And so he made some money, and we're like, oh my goodness, this is easy money. This is easy
Oh
money.
no.
This is easy money. So, and we added more money and got into it more, right?
Man,
So,
yeah.
and I mean, at one point, I want to say we were over $10,000, in
Mhm.
gains. And wow, my husband's like, "Oh, we're gonna keep this forever. We're gonna keep this money forever." And I think fast forward to May. I think that's May, beginning of May. I forgot what day was when Dogecoin hits the highest. I want to say like 70 cents or 71 cents or something like that.
Mhm.
And we're like, "Oh my goodness, this is awesome." Right? But we did not sell, we should have sold. We should have
Man,
sold.
oh
We added
no.
even more.
What?
Yes, we added even more. So we got into Dodge, we got into Ethereum, I got into ETC, I got into Bitcoin. I mean, like us and the families. It's not just the two of us. Like I said, the family, my in-laws, got
Mhm.
into it, and so I'm sure a lot of people may lost money, because of that. But after May, it started going. After that whole Elon skit,
Mhm. Mhm.
things started going downhill. But we didn't learn our lesson. Of course, hey, it's a low, right? Buy the dip.
Oh, no. Buy the dip on Doge.
Buy
Oh
the dip on
man.
Doge and Ethereum and ETC. I was big on Ethereum. I love Ethereum more so than Doge. My husband got into
Mhm.
Doge and all that, but I liked Ethereum and ETC. Well, we ended up losing half of that. Half of it,
Man.
it went down. I'm like, oh no, should we sell? No, we're not selling. We hold it's gonna come back up, right? This is just a temporary thing. Well, we lost a lot of that. We lost a good amount, about I lost about $20,000 on that
Man.
in crypto. And
Man.
I did not keep track of how much my husband lost. at the time.
Right,
But
right.
I withdrew, right? Back then, by then I said, "All right, I had enough crypto." I pulled out.
Mhm.
I pulled out, and I'm like, well, I like trading. So it was fun. That the $2,000 gains. I was like, wow, this seems like easy money. We got to make money back, right?
You keep saying easy. Come on, Tweet.
So,
You're killing me.
so I opened up an account with TD Ameritrade, and start googling. What in the beginning I got into stocks. Um, Getting to stocks and buy certain stocks. It's just like, and I didn't even know what to buy, right? So the other buzzword
Mhm.
back then was Wall Street bets. So guess what? Twee went
Oh,
into
boy.
Wall Street bets, and people would say, "Buy this, BlackBerry,
Oh,
oh,
no. Oh,
BlackBerry." I
my
forgot
goodness.
like some of the stocks that we were in, like whatever the memes at the time, right? So
Yeah,
that I
yeah,
was
yeah.
buying, right? So I ended up losing more into that
Oh, my
with the
goodness.
stocks. And then I started going. I'm like, I start Google some more, and then people say futures. Futures are easy money.
Oh, boy. Here you go again.
So I got into futures.
Oh, no,
Uh,
Tweet.
so I got into futures, and being a techie that I was, I placed the Nasdaq. So I
Okay.
didn't have
Yeah.
I didn't have enough for the NQ, so I was playing with MNQ. What is it?
Mhm.
The mini,
Micros.
the micros,
Mhm.
right? So that was something I could afford. So I played futures for a long time. I mean, several months. But I didn't know what I was doing. There were days that I was up $6,000, right? And I was like, oh,
Mhm.
in the beginning, oh, futures is great. The Nasdaq, the volatility, it's like, wow, it's moving 100 points. You know,
Mhm.
I was in the beginning 2 contracts, 3 contracts, 5 contracts, 10 contracts. Wow, this is great. The volatility is great. The swings on this thing I could make is great. So in the beginning, I was successful with futures. I made a few $1,000s, right? But I didn't know what I was doing. I had no stop loss when I enter a trade, right? I,
Oh,
I had
boy.
no idea where it was going, right? I'm like looking
Mm.
at the chart, looking at it. I knew the news would impact it, but I didn't understand why or what news. Now looking back, it seems like I was so naive. You know,
Yeah. You probably look back and say, "What in the world was I
oh
thinking?"
yes, and I look at like past charts, and I'm like, there are days, it will make a V shape. I mean, literally a V shape, right? And so I'm like, if I hold, it will eventually go
Oh,
back up,
man.
right? Well, guess
Oh,
what? Some days they never go back up. I had
man.
drawdowns
Yeah.
over $9,000, you know,
Woo.
in one trade because I was sitting there. It went down in the afternoon. I would
Oh,
sit
man.
there waiting for it to come back up.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And on top of that, I was over trading, right? I you don't pay attention, back then I was not paying attention to the fees and the commission.
Mhm.
First of all, TD Ameritrade is reputable, a
N
broker. But
yeah.
I never pay attention to how much fees they were charging me for futures, things like that, right? And they're expensive.
And they were happy that you weren't they were happy you weren't checking because they are woo.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I did not look. I mean, there were days with futures that I had over 100 contracts placed, in
Yeah.
total. In total,
And
I
they're
was just
loving it.
happy
They're
clicking
loving it.
away, right?
Man.
So I think
Man.
at the end of 2021, I looked back, and well, not even 2021. I think it was March 2022. I look back because that's when we were doing taxes, and I started printing out statements for the tax. February,
Mhm.
March, and I'm looking at my statements from TD Ameritrade. I'm like, holy cow! I paid $13,000 in commissions and fees
Man.
for
Man.
futures.
Wow.
For futures.
My
So
goodness. You were clicking that button all day, weren't you?
I was, I was, I was, and it's just. just being transparent here.
Hmm.
It was just,
Yeah.
you know, a lesson, huge lesson to learn. But
So you mentioned to me, and
mhm,
so all right, now we're at the point you're getting beat up a little bit.
mhm,
What if you want to share? That's up to
mhm.
you. But what's the total loss count at this point? Not for your husband, but just for you. What would you say
The lost
at when you were checking? Before you come into the Discord and everything. Where were you at?
um about 50,000.
Wow, my gosh, 50K in the hole.
Hmm.
What are you thinking to yourself at this point?
I'm thinking, holy cow, my husband is gonna kill me when he sees this statement.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So, all right. So what happens next? Now, when did you find the Wealth Wells, the Discord? Talk to me about like what's going on next. Let's move forward a little bit in
mhm.
the journey to see kind of when some things start to click and turn around. What's next?
So, I mean, my husband's like, well, maybe futures isn't for you. You know, maybe you should, yeah, but and then by that time I was looking for other ways. I was like, I'm doing something wrong. You know, people are making money, right? I'm in all these Reddit,
Hmm.
uh, channels,
Oh
and they're all
Lord.
making
Hmm.
money. What am I doing wrong, right? So I searched and searched and searched, and by then I think I was down to like $5,000 on my account, and
Hmm.
I'm like, I gotta do something different, right? So I search, and one of the channels that I ran across was talking about trading spy options, how to trade spy options for $500, you know, if you have small account. And this
Hmm.
one person um, was saying like, you can build up your account, learn to trade spy. If you can trade spy, you can trade anything because that is the market, right? So
Hmm.
I, you know, through that channel, I was recommended other videos, right? And one of yours came up, the wealth whale.
Ah, well, well, well.
So the wealth whale video came up, and I actually forgot which video it was because I've been watching so many of the videos, right, over and over, and I'm like, wow, okay. So I started watching it, and it's the way you presented um, the spy options, you know, how to trade and be successful, and the methodologies, you know, without lagging indicators. I'm like, wow, that's, you know, that makes sense. You know, the whole trade
Hmm.
based on volume, volatility, and price action. It just all made sense, right? Because up to now I was using lagging indicators. You know, I had my charts was a mess.
I'm sure it
I've
was.
had every single indicators that the whole world use out there, I think, on my chart. Just looking, I'm like, how do you dig through this mess, right?
Yeah.
So what, you know, when I went through that video, it just made sense somehow, right? So I joined the Discord. And to be honest, when I joined the Discord, I was skeptical. I'm like, I don't know. I stuck to futures for a little bit, right? Because
Hmm.
I didn't know, first of all, at that time, I didn't really know anything about trading options. I mean, complete
Hmm.
noob, right? I knew of the word, but I didn't understand what it meant. You know, DTE,
Hmm.
zero DTE, 3D, you know, 3 days. You know,
Yeah.
I had no idea what any of that meant at all. Right, the options change. You know what to pick, what to
Hmm.
select. You know, I was watching videos on you know how to do that, learning how to do that, learning how to trade options with TD Ameritrade. That took time, right?
Hmm.
So I traded futures for I think a good 2 months or so, even though, you know, I was in the Discord, right? But and I was still trading the Nasdaq because at that time, you know, when I looked at ES, it moved so slowly, and it didn't seem like it didn't move that many points. You know, the Nasdaq
Hmm.
on a good day, it will move three, four,
It's ripping.
500 points. You know,
Hmm.
whereas ES 10 points, 20 points. I'm like,
Yeah.
it didn't click, right? And it didn't make sense
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
And even SPY, I'm like, you're looking at dollars and pennies or cents, you know. So it
Right.
didn't
You're
really
like,
make.
what is this?
Yes, yes, yes. So it took a little while for me to learn all that and adjust, right? And even when I placed my first trade you know, on for SPY options, you know, I think I lost like $20. I'm like, and I look at the theta and the time decay. It didn't make sense. None of that. None of that made
Yeah.
sense to me, right? So I have to say it took a little while. Not until I think it was your Greek video that came out that things really
Hmm.
start clicking. You know, I've
Hmm.
read about it, but just seeing it visually with the video
Yeah.
helped a lot, right? People say place, take your trade in the money at the money. I mean, I had no idea what that means. I mean, that,
Right.
that line in the option change in TD Ameritrade, I had no idea what that meant. I didn't understand all that, right? What to select.
Hmm.
So that video really clicked and helped me. It started with the SPY option, and once I started that, things were good.
Nice, nice, nice. Now, I I I remember some time ago, we did an update, and you posted a testimonial,
Mhm,
and you had recovered some losses at that point. Let's get an update together. So prior to finding, you've been through all the trainings,
mhm,
you've been through the futures training as well,
mhm.
and certainly one of the moderators here, and we can clearly see your consistency. I'm very proud to see that consistency here with your trades, and on top of that, you got a full time job. You're doing this stuff with a full time job, which is incredible.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about that, but so far you're around 40, 50K down.
Mhm.
How much have you recovered since the training, since being in the Discord? Where are you now?
So we just did our tax yesterday. So I would say the total loss I did was about I had for me was about 50,000, and
Hmm.
my husband about 50,000. So the total that we had losses together is about 100,000. And
Wow.
yeah, so when I posted in the Discord, I think it was in November. I was up.
Hmm.
I was up about 20,000 back.
Okay.
I made 20,000 back. As of today, a few months later, I'm now up about 30,000.
Good.
So
Good. Good. Good.
so we are.
Good. Good.
I am slowly making ways, my way back. So
Very nice. Very nice. And that progress, not perfection.
mhm,
That is all. And that is a realistic,
mhm,
very, very realistic approach, and a nice story when it comes to making this stuff. And because it shows consistency and you turn the corner. Um, how is it trading? And let's just be clear, you're doing all that. You've been able to come back and make your way back, now up 30K. Um, how are you able to do that and manage with a full-time job? What tips can you give us to, making your losses back and or day trading with a full-time job?
so um, it is definitely very hard with a full time job. Um, and prior to well, up until last year, I had a different job that was very stressful. So with
Mhm.
that, I quit. I left that job, and now in this job, it's a little less stressful. And even though I'm in meetings a lot of time, but I don't complain about my meetings anymore because that gives me an opportunity to review,
Study the
study
market?
the
No.
market. Yes, to study.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, I actually have my headset on. I have my
Yep.
headset on one ear, and I have an earbud on the other ear to listen to the Discord.
I love it. I love
So
it.
you
Yeah.
can
So there you go. All you folks complaining about those meetings,
uh,
listen to Twee, right?
so I mean, but I that's the other thing too is I do not uh slack off in my work. I mean, slack off in terms of, you know, not paying attention sometimes, but I try to get my work done. That's something that I stick to, my ethics, right? My work ethics
Hmm.
is I don't slack off. I get my job done. I prioritize. And that's part of the discipline. Every morning, even the day before, I review my calendar. What do I have going on? I mean, I have to time myself in terms of when I can be in the market, right? And that is not something easy to do, right? You just think
Mhm.
you have your work calendar. I have a separate time for market calendar for me, so to
Mhm.
speak, right?
Yes.
So to keep that in sync, and the other thing too is getting my job done. Not to mention interruptions I may be getting, right? So
Mhm.
arrange um, my work, my priorities, and the biggest thing is the discipline. And the one thing I could say is the more trainings I have, the more I am in the market. I feel like I'm getting, I wouldn't say pickier or choosing my trades more carefully. Whereas before I was taking, many multiple trades, 20 trades a day, right? Now these
Mhm.
days, my trades could be one a day. It's normally 1 to 4 these days. But
Excellent.
yeah, and just taking that less trades just really helps you focus on what is your best setup, right? What you see, you can really hone in and tune in on what the best setup is. And if I miss it, I miss it, right? And the other thing is to be content with um, what you can get. Be
Yes.
content with what you consider is enough, right? So whereas before I had a goal, I had a daily goal, in the beginning, $1,000 a day,
Oh
which
boy.
which was very it's a high number, right? And then I went down $500 a day. But then I felt like I was not getting my work done. I was focusing more on trading. I was up against my work ethic, right? I don't feel right, right?
Mhm.
I feel like
Mhm.
there should be a work trade balance, right?
Absolutely.
So getting my work done and taking advantage of it when I'm in meetings and they're talking about fantasy football. Well, I don't care about fantasy football. I'm
I
observing
know.
the
I
market.
know. The meeting is 3 hours and we talk literally for 30 minutes about the action plan and about the architecture. Like, come on, right? I get it. I
Exactly,
get it. And
exactly.
you're
So
using
I'm
that
using
time
that time
effectively.
effectively, right? So now these days, I'm more content on what I can get out of the market. It could be $10, $100, $1,000. I mean, my range varies, but the most important thing is be happy with it. Don't chase
Mhm.
because it adds up. Your nickels, your
Yep.
pennies, they add up. And one day you look back and you're gonna say, "Oh wow, I'm up $20,000. I'm up thirty thousand
Mhm.
dollars." Just be
Exactly.
happy, be content.
And what's most important is proper trade execution. I love the part, and it's worth
Mhm,
restating that you look for A plus
mhm.
setups. You're not in a
Right.
rush. You're going to take exactly the setup you want to see. And so later in the year, I've been talking about it for the last 2 years now, but later in the year, those are some of the points. I'm glad you mentioned them that I cover in my book, How to Day Trade with a Full Time Job,
Mm,
because it's a challenge. I've done it. Others have done it or want to do it. Most people transition from it and they want to do day trade full time with just in general,
mm,
but they have a job at this, and they need to understand that it comes with a certain level of responsibility,
mhm,
and you're going to have to train yourself. And so it'll be on the website, thewealthwells.com, and inside the Discord. But those points that you mentioned are critical if someone who has responsibilities of a job and still needs the job for income and wants to not be under the gun all the time, that they have to balance.
mm.
um
Now
you
I'm
Go ahead.
not always green. I mean, I do make mistakes. I mean, it's just one sometimes
Mhm.
you're not always going to be green, right? Like you said, you're going to have a red
No.
trade, you're going to have a red day here and there. But my red trades and red days are now fewer in between. And if I look back, most of those times are when I break my discipline, when I feel like I'm gambling.
Mm.
I might have had a bad night the night before. I don't know. That really affects
Mm.
your your mental, game, right? When it comes to trading, I could
Mhm.
have had a bad meeting the next morning, right? And then I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I feel like I'm revenge. I'm revenge, with
You
the market, right? But that ended up
You're right.
hurting you, right? So and
Mhm.
when I have those days, I go back and I review and I realize, okay, I was gambling, right? I I was
Mhm.
chasing. I was not disciplined, and that is the toughest part, is to keep yourself
Mhm.
disciplined. I mean,
It is.
getting up, walking, getting walking away from my desk, right? If when I
Mhm.
get into those moods. Um, so because if I'm only taking a trade a day, I mean, your my hand twitch.
Yeah.
My hand twitch when the market moves, because you really want to jump in and be in
You
that.
really wanna trade.
Yeah, you really,
Yeah.
and
You
to
wanna
to
trade.
to I was doing 100 contracts before, now I'm doing one trade, two trades, three trades.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
really hard to just hold back, right? So you have to
Yeah.
find, your ways around that by being disciplined,
Yeah.
watching the market. You know, I read the tape instead of getting into a trade, right? I learned to read the tape.
Mhm.
I go, chart some more, while I'm watching the market, keeping yourself
Mhm.
busy so that you're not
Mhm.
happy clicking that button.
Desperate to just get into the trade.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, and you make some nice points, just being content, I think, but it comes with time. I think, you had to, like all of us, had to bump your head a
mhm,
little bit, and but I'll tell you this, it's really nice to see the progress of the Discord traders like yourself kind of crush this thing. We're talking about how to become a comeback king or queen, right? Making your money back in the market. And I think one takeaway we can gather, it's going to take discipline,
mhm,
it's going to take
mhm.
time, it's going to take discipline, and it's going to take time, and obviously some training in an environment. Can you speak to maybe how the Discord has helped with that, the environment, the training, anything that's kind of helped you stay on the right path?
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody pretty much agree that the Discord, the community is just amazing, and that is something I was lacking before, previously. Once I found the Discord, I knew, this is home. The way you talk, the way you coach. I only had in the beginning only small amount of money, and I didn't feel like I needed the training. I'm like, oh, I'll just hang around, and I'll learn a tip
Hmm.
here there. But
Hmm.
over time there, I realized you have to learn the right technique to be able
Hmm.
to be rewarded, right?
Yeah.
And for some people, they may not have enough money to train, but I say, just try to get that money for the training, because that will help, because you're learning the right techniques to you have to learn the right techniques to earn more money, basically, right?
You absolutely
You
have to.
have to,
Yeah.
because you have to
It
do it
no
right.
no doubt about it.
Because and no shortcuts. There's no
Nope.
shortcuts. There's no rushing it. That whole mentality, right?
No cheat code.
Right. And
No.
and the one thing that you had said recently is not to focus on the money. Focus on the rewards, right? Rewards
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
the money will come with it, and that's something I took
Hmm.
away recently. That was quite nice. I mean,
Yeah.
I was, like I said, I was content with $10, whatever money I can get to be green. But now these days, I don't even look at the money really. I just know I'm
Hmm.
green, and
Yep.
that's all I'm
And,
working.
and before because it's just a matter, if folks can just understand, number one, they need development and
Mhm,
training. We all
mhm,
do. Number two, they need CE, continuous education. In any
mhm.
profession, you have to have continuous education. Sometimes it's called continuous education credits. Sometimes it's just courses, whatever. But you have to. A surgeon is not a surgeon once. They've got to continuously work on their craft, and so that's what the community tier 3 provides. And then you've got the practice, discipline, work,
And,
practice, discipline. All of that combined equals
and you
results, and then you approach each trade like an
and you have to
exercise, and
and
you
you have to
just.
put the work into it. I mean, I tell you,
Yes. Yeah.
before I joined the Discord, right? We used to watch TV at night. I mean, TV shows. I don't even watch those shows anymore. You know,
You
I
don't have
don't have
time.
time. I don't have time.
Yep.
Go home, work,
Hmm.
go home, cook, after dinner, homework with my son, and then he's 9 years old, so he's still happy to be with mommy, right? So I read, after homework we read, put him to bed. So after bed, I mean, I don't go back and watch a TV show. I don't, I go into the charts and I look at charts, reviewing my calendar for the next day. You have to put in the work, and
Mhm.
the homework, do your charting, review your
Mhm.
levels, add levels,
Mhm.
and just kind of get
Mhm.
your mind prepared for the next day or week, and see.
And really it'll work itself, like what all of the and that's one of the things that I wish for folks to get from not just the Mindset Mondays, not just the back pocket knowledge audios that I drop, but just the entire tonality of the Discord, that if you just apply the disciplines taught here and give yourself time,
Hmm.
any amount of money that you want, it is going to come. It's just a matter of trade and contract count. That's it. If you can make $10, you can make $10,000. It's just a matter of trade execution and contract
Right.
count. So, we've talked about a lot of things. We talked about your background, and that was very moving, and just your journey into coming into the market, and then the losses and your successes and making it back, and just all those cool. You gave us some tips on trading with a full time job, and just incredible. I mean, we really can get an idea of what it takes to be a comeback king or queen and make the money back in the market. If you had to give us some takeaways, maybe some trading lessons or some things that really stand out the most in your journey so far with the Wealth Wells and just being in the Discord, what can you leave us with?
I have to say that it takes time and patience and discipline, and you have to be forgiving to yourself, right? Because you don't know what you don't know, right? In the beginning, I didn't know. I got into
Hmm.
all crazy stuff, right? So the more just it's just taking time to learn, and what's out there. Learn, take the trainings, because the trainings is all there. Everything you need is all in the trainings. It's all
It's
there.
there.
It's all
It's
there.
there. I'm glad you
It is
said it.
all
It's
there.
there.
You don't
And
need
then
anything
some.
else. I mean, I don't have
It's
anything
there.
else on my chart. I don't even have VWAP on my chart anymore.
It's
It's all
there.
there. You can do it.
And,
And
and and you can now use that for anything. It's there.
and it just takes time and patience, because the market is wild, and it changes, right? In Like I said, like for example, in November, last year, up in the last quarter of last year, I mean, it seems like the market was trading so much better. Um, I
Hmm.
don't know, it's the way it moves, or a cycle thing or quarterly thing, but
Hmm.
this quarter, I mean,
Hmm.
it seems like it's chippier,
Super,
yeah, it's
super.
super chippy, maybe because it's the war and everything, that it just takes time. You have to learn, and I'm still
Mhm.
learning. I'm not an expert by any means, but I'm still
Yeah,
learning.
and you gotta go through those
Yes.
cycles, like you said, you gotta go when it changes, you have to
Yes, I do
experience that,
notice, like for
no doubt about
example,
it.
in the summer, the tradings have dropped. The range, it's just
Mhm.
volume has
Volume.
dropped a lot,
Yep.
right?
Tight.
So I think I'm
Yeah,
learning. I'm struggling a little bit this quarter. It's not as fast as it has been. That when I look back,
'cause you got your fingers twitching.
that could be it.
You wanna
That could
trade.
be it.
You wanna
But
trade.
that's the thing, is now these days it's like I feel like I knew a lot more than I did, and now I'm
Mhm.
choosing my trades. I'm getting
Yeah.
picky at my trade, right? If it's not a
Mhm.
good setup, I'm not getting in it, because you know what? It's gonna be a good one
Mhm.
tomorrow or the next day. You know,
Mhm. We do this every
and I'm
single
I'm
day.
green.
Yeah.
I'm green. If I don't get into it and I
Yeah.
haven't lost, I'm green. I'll be green
Yep.
again tomorrow. I'll be green. If it's
Yeah.
the setup is there, right? So
Yeah.
basically, it takes
Yeah, it's just
patience
the
and
approach, I
discipline.
love it.
Is what you need,
Yeah.
and training. So
Yeah. I couldn't say it. I couldn't say it more and say it any best, but it's nice to hear it from someone who's not me, so that folks don't think you're just trying to push training on or what
Mhm.
have you. I mean, I still, although I won't do them in the future, I still do a good portion of them live, and the intention for the Discord is to help to build a community of effective traders so that we can move on to other things to invest in
Yeah,
trade, and you have a nice community, right? It's not fun trading when you're being profitable by
yeah.
yourself. And it's just not. It's more fun when you got folks who are also
Hmm.
winning and crushing it. Well, I'll tell you this, Tweet. Your personality, Your genuineness is refreshing in the Discord. We appreciate, I know I tell you mods all the time, I appreciate the things that you guys
Thank
do.
you.
We appreciate the insight. We appreciate you spending time with us,
Mhm.
guys, and just helping us learn, Twee. And I'm very excited about the future, not just of the Discord, but very excited about yourself to get all your profits back and just to do it the right
Mhm.
way. Anyone hearing this for the first time, this is what we're about for the Mindset Mondays, to help you with the mental and skill development. Real traders, by traders, for traders. How to become a comeback king or queen, making your money back in the market, what it takes and how to do it. Tweebee dropped some gems on us. Look for that on podcasts on your where podcasts are available, Spotify, YouTube. I'm going to get back to trading the market. KD signing
Right.
out.
All
Thanks,
right.
Twee.
Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.